Hello everyone, in this video we are going to check out how you can use Plesk's service provider view to start your own mini web hosting service. Whether you are managing multiple websites or thinking about making some extra cash online, Plesk makes it super easy to handle everything from customers to domains and subscriptions. If you have a good virtual private server like the ones from Contabo, you can turn it into your own hosting business. I recommend Contabo because they offer reliable, fast, and affordable VPS options that work great with Plesk. So if you are curious about how to get started and why this is worth your time, keep watching. And don't forget to check the link in the description for more details on setting up your Contabo VPS. So if you want to create your own hosting plans and subscriptions in Plesk, you need to make sure that you have the correct edition. Plesk offers 3 editions: Web Admin Edition, WebPro Edition, and Web Host Edition. So you need to use the proper edition. You need at least WebPro Edition to create subscriptions and customers and hosting plans. The Web Admin Edition is only for basic user and the website management. So here on this page you can check out the different features of these editions. I think the Web Pro Edition is more than enough. If you buy your VPS from Contabo, you can select which edition you want to install on your virtual private server. Okay, so right now we don't see anything related to subscriptions and hosting plans. It's because when you log into Plesk, you need to change your view. So let's click here, and it warns us that we are currently using the Power User view, and this is for developers and web agencies. And if we want to use Plesk as hosting providers, for example, we need to switch to the service provider view. So let's click here, and now our interface has changed. By the way, I am using the Web Pro Edition. So here you see a lot of information, and this can be overwhelming, but basically we only need to understand these options here for now. But first, let me talk about this section and what it is and what's the basic difference between service plans and subscriptions and customers, so we have a better understanding what this is and how this works. So right now we are in the service provider view, and within the hosting services section we can manage all the key aspects of our web hosting business. This is where we organize and control customer accounts, domains, hosting plans, and subscriptions. By the way, I'm going to use hosting plans and service plans interchangeably. So let's break down the main parts of this section and explain how they work together. So first, let's see the service plans. A service plan or hosting plan is essentially a bundle of features and resources that you offer to your customers. This includes things like disk space, monthly traffic, number of websites they can host, email accounts, databases, and so on. Think of it as a package that your customers can buy. When they subscribe to a plan, they are essentially signing up for that specific set of resources and services. We can also create add-on plans. I will cover that later, but this basically gives customers extra features. For example, if a customer needs more storage space or more email accounts, then what is included in the basic plan, they can add an extra plan on top of their existing subscription. Okay, let's move on to subscriptions. A subscription is how your customers use your hosting services. When a customer subscribes to a plan, they are given access to resources such as a website, email accounts, and databases based on that plan's limits. Each subscription is linked to a specific customer and is managed through this section. Subscriptions can be upgraded, suspended, or modified as needed. Okay, I am not going to spend too much time on domains. This is basically where all the domains that are added to the different subscriptions and customers are listed here. Let's go to customers. This section is where you manage the accounts of your hosting customers. It includes creating new accounts, assigning subscriptions to them, and managing their existing services. Customers can have multiple subscriptions, meaning they could run several websites under different hosting plans if they wanted to. Okay, so if it's still a little bit blurry, let's see what the difference between service plans and subscriptions. A service plan is the product you sell. It's the package of resources that define what the customer gets when they subscribe. For example, 10 gigabytes of storage, 5 email accounts, etc. A subscription is what links the customer to that actual usage of a service. When a customer subscribes, they get a subscription that matches the plan's features. So what's the difference between service plans and customers? A customer is the person or business that buys the service from you. They have an account with you and they can subscribe to one or more service plans. A service plan is what you offer to the customer, which outlines the resources they get in exchange for their subscription. A customer can have multiple subscriptions. For example, one customer might run several websites, each with a different subscription. Subscriptions are the actual instances of service usage, while customers are the individuals or organizations who own the subscriptions. Okay, so let's see this in action. Let's go to service plans. To create a service plan, click Add a Plan. And now we have a lot of options here. Okay, so I'm not going to explain all of them. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below the video and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. But there is no point explaining every single options here, but I will cover the most important ones. The most important is obviously the name of the service plan. Let's name this Starter. Okay, so first, overuse policy. It means, do you allow users to overuse the allocated resources? By default, Plesk allows the overuse of disk space and traffic. It really depends on your resources, your business model, whether you want to allow this or not. Let's stick with the default Plesk option. So here we can define the most important resources, disk space. So how much disk space a user, a customer will have. I will set this to 5 gigabytes. I will set the notification limit to 4 gigabytes. I will leave the traffic on the default value. We can also set a notification limit. So when the traffic reaches this number, we will receive an email notification. How many domains should we allow on this plan? Let's allow only 2 domains. If you don't want to allow unlimited subdomains, uncheck this and add a number here. Okay, let's go to mailboxes. So this is the number of email mailboxes allowed. This can be set to unlimited, but it's not recommended. Let's just limit this to 10. This is the size limit for each mailbox. I will leave it on 100 megabytes, but it really depends on how much you want to allow to your customers. And again, this is the number of mailing lists you allow. Let's limit this to, I don't know, 10. FTP accounts, I will leave it on unlimited. Databases, I will leave it on 10. The expiration date is the time period after which the plan expires. I don't want this to expire, so I will just leave it on unlimited. Okay, so here we can define the number of WordPress websites that we will be able to manage via WP Toolkit. I will leave this on unlimited. WordPress backup, again, we can leave it on unlimited. It really depends on what you want to allow to your customers. Okay, and lastly, this is the number of keywords you can track using the rank tracker tool. This can be set to unlimited, but this is basically an extension, and the free version is very limited. Okay, let's go to permissions. Okay, so here you can allow or disallow the access or the use of SSH to the server. I will not allow it for this plan. I will allow the DNS zone management. If you want to give access to hosting settings, you can check this box. I will not allow my customers to mess with the hosting settings. You can let the customers select their own PHP version. Actually, that's useful. And I will leave everything else on the default, but maybe I'm not going to allow Node.js. Okay, so under hosting parameters, I will leave everything on the default settings. We don't really need to change anything here. PHP settings, okay, we'll support the latest version. I am not going to change the PHP settings here. I will leave everything as it is. Let's go to web server settings. Here again, I will leave everything on the default settings. Let's check out the mail tab. Okay, we enable the mail service. The default webmail client will be the RandCube. We don't really have anything else. So here we can leave everything on the default settings as well. DNS settings. So here we can select the primary or secondary DNS zone. When we select primary, Plesk will act as the primary DNS server for the domain. This means that Plesk will host the DNS records and handle all DNS queries for the domain directly. Typically, this is used when Plesk is the main server for your domain's DNS records. When you select secondary, Plesk will act as a secondary DNS server. In this mode, Plesk will not be the main source for DNS records, but will instead synchronize DNS records from a primary DNS server. So use primary when Plesk should manage all DNS records for your domain directly, or use secondary if the DNS records are managed by another server, and Plesk should simply mirror those records for redundancy. I will leave this on primary. Logs and statistics, well, we can leave these on the default settings. Applications, here you can select what kind of applications the users can install. If you click here, you can add WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, and so on. Let's just add WordPress. Okay, additional services. Okay, I am not going to add anything here. So if we go back here, again, we can check the settings and just click OK. And our hosting plan has been created. Okay, we could create an add-on plan. Let's say 5 GB of disk space. We can add other resources, but I'm not going to go through them. They are pretty obvious. We can also add permissions or different settings or hosting parameters to an add-on plan. Let's name this extra 5 GB storage. Click OK. So we have our service plan. We could go to subscriptions, but I'm not going to do that. We go to customers instead. We do this because when we create a customer, we can also create a subscription with it. Okay, so to create a customer, click Add Customer. Let's add an email address. Let's add a username and a password. Okay, and as you can see from here, we can create a subscription for this customer. So if you already have a domain name registered, you just need to add the domain name here. But right now I'm just going to select the temporary domain name. Okay, so here we need to select the service plan. So we just created our starter plan and we can select add-ons for this plan. I will select this extra 5 GB storage. So here we can create system user credentials. So these will be used for FTP or SSH. Okay, so I created the customer. So here we can see all the details about the customer when we set this up, how much disk usage they have, how much traffic. Here you can see the details of the customer. And if we go to subscriptions, here we can see that this subscription has been created and we can see who the subscriber is. Let's click this Manage in Customer panel. Okay, so as you can see, we switched our view. We are not in the service provider view anymore. And actually this is what the customer will see when they log into Plesk. So they will be able to manage their files, create databases, FTP accounts, change PHP versions, and so on. If you want to switch back, just click here back to administrator and you are back. You can also log in as a customer. By selecting a customer, you can suspend the customer or activate them. So now that we have service plans and subscriptions, you can repeat the process. You can create a bigger plan for which you will charge more and it will have more resources, for example. The easiest way to sell your subscriptions, your hosting plans, just set up your website, you create a virtual product with WordPress WooCommerce or your custom website, and when someone buys a hosting plan, you just set it up manually. Obviously, there are ways to automate this, but that is a little bit more complicated and it will require some coding knowledge, but it is possible. But the easiest way is to do it manually. So this is how you can create your own mini web hosting business, and it can be quite lucrative as well. Okay, so this can be an ideal solution for small businesses, freelancers, web developers. So for example, if you're a developer and you manage multiple clients, why not host their websites on your server and charge them? With Contabo, you can find really good VPS plans. Let's check this out here, for example. So let's just change the currency. So from $5.50 per month, you can get for CPU 6 GB of RAM, 100 GB NVMe drive, or 400 GB SSD, depends on which one you choose. And then you select your Plesk or cPanel control panel for the VPS plan, and then you can just start reselling it. Just create a few subscriptions, and then you can get your hosting business up and running in a couple of hours. With Contabo, you got 9 regions from all over the world. So if you are located in the US, you can just buy a VPS in one of the American regions, or in Australia, or in the EU. So you have a lot of options. They are very reliable and they have a really, really good service. So I recommend them. Okay, this is all I wanted to say in this video. And if you have any questions, just please leave a comment below the video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.